Voor ons begin wil ek jou vinnig herinner aan al die potgooi-reekse wat ek by betrokke is. Daar's natuurlik klipkouers wat fokus op Afrikaanse entrepreneurs en impakmakers, Boerpot wat fokus op die besigheid van landbou, Nostalgooi my nuutste reeks waar ek gesels met legendes van die Afrikaanse vermaaklikheidsindustrie, mense soos David Kramer, Anton Goosen, Sandra Prinsloo ensovoorts. En dan my 2 nuwe potgooi-reekse, Buscrash wat die Engelse boetie is van klipkouers, en dan Pot of Gold wat gefokus is op die besigheid van mynbou. As jy in Pretoria is, kom maak gerus 'n draai hierop by ons plek in die R21 Corporate Park, genaamd Bouma at 21, waar ons 'n café het, ons het coworking space, ons hierdie raadsaal uit en my atelier is hier. So, as jy is, kom drink gerus 'n koffie en kom sê hallo.
Nommer 7 Media Produksie.
Welkom by die John Deere Afrika potgooi reeks. Ek is jou gasheer, Jacques Passon. In Amerika dra landbou meer as $100 biljoen by tot die ekonomie. En boerdery ondergaan snelle vernuwing, veral wat slimtegnologie betref. Tydens die onlangse Africa Agri Tech-konferensie in Pretoria het ek die geleentheid gehad om met 2 Amerikaanse John Deere afgevaardigdes, Tavonga Siyavora, wat oorspronklik in Zimbabwe gebore is, en Nate Heinrich, te kon gesels oor hoe hulle die vernuwing van landbou in Afrika sien. Tavonga en Nate, hoewel in verskillende hoedanighede, is altwee nou betrokke by Presisie Landbou-tegnologie, oftewel Precision Ag Tech. Tavonga beywer om daartoe om produsente wêreldwyd te help om meer produktiewe, winsgewende en volhoubare boerderye te bedryf. En volgens Nate werk John Deere nou saam met hulle uitgebreide handelaarsnetwerk om te verseker dat hulle uitreik na klante groot en klein. Dis hier waar die konsep van ontwerpdenke, oftewel design thinking, inkom. En John Deere moet bepaal wat die ekonomiese en landboukundige geleenthede is wat die maatskappy vir boere moet ontsluit.
So while you're the closest, Tavonga, so would you mind introducing yourself? I mean, obviously you've got some, roots. I mean, you've got corporate roots in South Africa, Southern Africa, and of course other roots.
Sure. So, as mentioned, my name is Tavonga Siyavora. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and I'd spent a lot of formidable years in the U.S. All of my working career to date has been with John Deere. Spent much of my time with our Intelligence Solutions group, and that's the John Deere factory or unit where we actually have developed and continue to develop a lot of our precision ag technology that we are talking about today. Fairly recently, I also spent some time at our region headquarters here in Johannesburg, and our team here supports all of sub-Saharan Africa. So during that time, worked very closely with my colleagues and also with our strong network of dealers on helping to propagate the adoption of precision ag across African markets and make it a reality for farmers today.
Thanks. So we're going to deep into precision ag. I mean, just for I don't know the South Africans, do you call it ag, Stefan? I don't think we use the term. Do we call it ag? Ach, I don't think in Afrikaans it's not a nice word. Nate, please tell us a bit more about yourself and your background and
Yeah, sure. So, Nate Heinrich, I've been with John Deere going on 23 years now, and current position is I'm responsible for product marketing and innovation out of our North American headquarters, same place that Tavonga works in Urbandale, Iowa. Over the years, I've spent several different roles, including managing a lot of our global customer support product lines, and then spent some time in marketing. But typically, my career has always been at the intersection of technology and our equipment. 2013 through 2015, had the opportunity to work out of our office in Singapore, and was able to cover sub-Saharan Africa at that time. So this is probably my 4th or 5th time to South Africa. So it's great to be back.
Presisie landbou is een van die moderne landboupraktyke wat vir meer effektiewe produksie sorg. Deur middel van presisie landbou werk boere beter en nie harder nie. Dit behels die gebruik van rekenaars en satelliete om die plant, bespuiting en oesprosesse meer akkuraat en outomaties te laat geskied. Die toerusting word veral op planters aangewend, omrede dit presies kan bepaal hoeveel saad per hektaar geplant word, terwyl 'n GPS aan die stuur gekoppel voorkom dat oorveling plaasvind. By spuittoerusting maak die apparaat outomatiese verstellings aan die spoed en die hoeveelheid gespuit, sodat presies die korrekte hoeveelheid chemie toegedien word, terwyl by stroopers die opbrengs onmiddellik bepaal kan word. In Suid-Afrika is die graansektor onder voortdurende druk om mielies bekostigbaar teen uitvoertariewe te produseer en ten einde winsgewende produksie te bly verseker moet produsente van die nuutste tegnologie gebruik maak, insluitende presisie landbou.
So let's start with that. And this is a question for you both. How does precision ag compare in different markets? I mean, you were in Germany, you were in Singapore, you were in South Africa, Tavonga, and of course, well, Sub-Sahara is not that's another ball game. It's not always the joke with, my neighbor lives in Zimbabwe, do you know him? The people don't realize how big Africa is. What if you can highlight maybe 2 or 3 things? What are the differences, or is there more than that? Market to market, with when we say precision ag, does it mean the same thing across border, or is it a completely different animal in each market?
Yeah, I guess I'll jump on that. Precision ag is, well, at the customer level, it's different to every customer. So that just means taking your current operation and making it more precise by choosing like a foundational technology like auto guidance, what we call auto track, as a start. And so that can happen at any size of farmer. At a macro level, the large production ag areas of the world are very similar. Whether you're talking in the U.S., let's call it the Midwest of the U.S., you're talking South Africa, Australia, Northeast China, Northeast Germany, Ukraine, Russia, some of the really large ag markets, it's very similar. And the adoption curves are pretty similar. You get into some differences in the types of, let's call it the types of factories that customers are running, right? Whether you're talking the small grains production system with producing wheat and canola is different than corn and soy. And so at a macro level, large ag, I can speak mostly about, is pretty similar all over the world. But you get into differences based on whether you're trying to grow, wheat or you're trying to grow corn. And so there are differences as you get into those different production systems. So yeah, and there's different areas of the world that push the boundaries of precision ag.
So where is best practice? If dare I say that?
Hey, a couple of hot spots, in my opinion, in the world are, one, of course, is Australia. Australia is really typically pushing the boundaries on precision ag and trying to do more with less and limited resources and harnessing technology. So that's a really interesting market to keep our eye on. And then in general, there's always a lot of agricultural technology and technology in general coming out of Israel.
Sure. So probably what I'll also add to Nate's comments is as we go across multiple markets, many of the asks of large commercial producers are somewhat similar. And some of the challenges, especially as we're going across sub-Saharan Africa, are really the environment and ecosystem around them. So if we think of many of the major sugarcane operations in some countries here in Africa, certainly the challenges around finding skilled labor to actually support a lot of what they're trying to execute, and from a John Deere standpoint, staying close to appreciating when they are ready for that next level of advancement within their operation, relative to when they might be cycling equipment, which might be a little bit longer than some other established markets.
You mentioned, as far as the adoption, how long does it take? I would say, again, if you look at South Africa in comparison with Australia, I take it the more evolved the market is, the faster it is. But what is fast?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what is fast? So it's 2020 now. We've been in the auto guidance business for about 20 years, and that is, a fully mature business. some of the next level technologies like a section control that turns your boom or your planter on and off are kind of right there with the guidance technology. So I would say, based on our experience over the last 20 years, it's about probably a 10-year adoption cycle from the early adopters to the late majority. The speed with which different customer sizes adopt is pretty similar. A lot of people think it's just the really large customers that buy the most advanced technology. They adopt technology slightly quicker than a medium-sized farmer does, not exponentially larger. So that's something that we need to keep in mind, and we try to work with our dealer network to make sure that we're reaching out to all different sizes of customers because their adoption psychology is pretty similar on the whole, based on our research.
But it sounds to me like good news, the fact that the smaller farmer, they can adopt it quickly, but at the same time it's affordable. So it's not in typical business, the big boys, the small business cannot afford and do what the big business.
Yeah, let me qualify that a little bit. I'll let Tavonga jump in here on terms of the different sizes of the customers. The medium customers I'm talking about, in my terms, would still be, 800 to 1,000 acres. They're still fairly sizable farmers. When I talk about a really large farm, I'm talking 10,000, 20,000 acres. So Tavonga might have some opinions on, the smaller farm sizes and what he's seen from his experience on adoption and affordability, profitability, be able to fit into their operation.
Sure. So much of what I can share just based on a couple of good conversations that I've had is with more of those medium-sized operations, farmers are that much more sensitive to what can help to best control variables that precision ag technology can address, right? So farmers have to deal with everything from ecosystem inefficiencies, if you're looking at supply chain and environmental factors. And in sub-Saharan Africa, farmers don't have much of a safety net to actually fall back on. So especially here in South Africa, I was really taken back by how many customers appreciate that the importance of technology on their farm is what's going to help protect their interests and help protect their bottom line. So I would argue, or at least think, that for those medium-sized farmers, they may be a little bit more exposed than some of the larger commercial operations that can hold off on adopting until later on. And customers that I've talked to here in South Africa are really hungry to make sure that they're staying on top of the latest advancements and bringing them to their farm.
And I would also just add to that real quick, the way that precision ag's being adopted is, customers are, they want us to put this technology in the base of the equipment. So it's like cruise control in your car. And so, that's happening more and more. We have different levels of displays and different price levels, and things are becoming a lot more accessible and easier to adopt. And so we're trying to do our part there.
I just want to touch on that. And when we having a chat earlier on, Nate, we were talking about design thinking. Tell us a bit more about your team, and most important is the whole thing of working from the customer backwards, that reverse engineering, which is always that's a recipe for success. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. And I'm glad you asked me about that because that's something that take seriously and love to do. So design thinking is a method that was essentially created by some of the top design firms in the world, and so I have some education at Stanford around design thinking and have done several projects with Google and some other companies. And really what design thinking is all about is empathizing with your customer. And so that means to walk in their shoes. It means not just to understand what people say, but also what they think, feel, and do. And so what we try to do is we try to look at what are the economics and agronomic areas of opportunity that we can help unlock for customers. And then we try to really empathize with them and say, how can we unlock this for their daily farm operations? And then we create rapid prototypes. and see how they work, how they work for the customers, see how they work in the dirt, and we try to drive innovation from there. So it's fun. So inside a big company, being so focused from the customer back into the company is refreshing, and it drives a lot of interesting conversations.
But what was incredible, the prototypes, you developed that in 9 weeks.
Yeah, so so John Deere's, I would say we've been transforming over the last 10, 20 years into be a little more agile, technology-driven company. And our team was set up to take advantage of that and to be able to create rapid prototypes that don't take a year or two to build. They literally, one of the longest things that we have to wait on is parts. Designing, wait on parts.
You should print them.
Yeah, well, but seriously, so our customers and our dealers deserve us to innovate really well and go fast and do a great job. And so that's our mission. Our teams are just a handful of years old, but yeah.
I liked how you put it early on, as we were talking about, it's where money meets emotion. Tavonga, what is the smaller farmers? What is the emotional? What are the emotional problems? I mean, what are they struggling with? Does it look different to the bigger boys? How does money meet emotion with the smaller farmer?
Sure. So I'm not sure if I'll go down the route of money meeting emotion exactly, but what definitely comes to mind is the plight of the smallholder farmer in sub-Saharan Africa is a key problem that John Deere is committed to helping solve. If we look at the data out there, about 80% of the farming that happens today is smallholder farmers with land holdings of less than 5 acres, and really meeting the future production demands that the African continent is going to have needs for us to also develop and deliver solutions for these farmers also. Now, many of the pain points and challenges that they certainly face is at that scale of farm, as I mentioned earlier, less than 5 acres. Access to mechanization is a tremendous problem. And that's why John Deere has made a keen focus through our SMART campaign to actually bolster and build up a contractor segment that can provide mechanized services to those farmers in their community, and for the contractors generate additional income to take care of their businesses and their families. So at the end of the day, what we are focusing on is making sure that we are addressing a lot of the pain points around driving mechanization to those smallholder farmers, and at that contractor segment, both through our John Deere Financial Organization and with partner banks, working to address some of the challenges with access to finance, such that those contractors can actually get that equipment to begin starting their businesses and feeding their families.
I mean, define the word contractor. I mean, that's an exciting term in Africa, and I don't know. There's is it e-tractor? There's examples of the leasing of the tractors and all the rest. Define contractor.
Sure. So ultimately, a contractor is an individual or a collective that is providing rented services to their area community. Generally speaking, in the African context, that is going to be some level of mechanization. So whether it's coming through to actually sow, plant, or harvest, right? So that is certainly the context that I'm looking at a contractor here on. One thing to appreciate is a lot of our technology development that we've done in the large ag segment. John Deere is actively working on scaling and adopting those technologies to the smaller segment also. So we talked at length about our auto-track guidance self-driving technology. We have now actually adopted that technology onto our open station 5000 series tractors that are very popular across most of the African continent, helping to increase the effectiveness of those machine passes as those tractors are going through the field, and also reduce operator fatigue. Now, for some of those contracting companies out there, some of their main challenges might be finding skilled labor or someone that they're comfortable with operating their tractor in the manner it's supposed to be used. So by bringing guidance, it's bringing that level of automation to the actual execution of the job taking place. And the other thing that we've also scaled and brought to the small holder segment, which is directly benefiting contractors, would be the use of telematics. So by our enabling contractors to actually remain connected to all of their fleet, they're able to better monitor machine locations and even address major pain points such as fuel theft and some of the other issues that many contractors deal with across the continent.
JD Link is 'n telematieke stelsel wat masjinerie in die veld verbind met die kantoor en slimfone. Dit stel die boer in staat om onder andere kritieke en tydige inligting oor sy masjinerie aanlyn te bestudeer, data van en na masjinerie te skuif, maklik, veilig en draadloos, en die nodige ondersteuning aan masjinerie en personeel te bied ten einde die onderneming aan die gang te hou. Hierdie afstandsbeheer toestel is van onskatbare waarde vir enige bestuurder wat op 2 plekke tergelykertyd moet wees. Die JD Link-stelsel teken outomaties masjineriewerkverrigting aan en stuur verslae deur cellulêre seine, terwyl dit aan boere die buigsaamheid verleen om 'n e-pos verslag te skeduleer. Dit maak dit moontlik vir produsente met groot vlote om basiese vergelykings van masjinerieverrigting en tydsverbruik te tref met die data-uitvoer toestel. JD Link draadloose kommunikasie verseker dat die regte werknemer en masjinerie ten alle tye op die regte ligging van die plaas is.
So when we start talking about fuel theft as an example, so are we now more moving towards IoT? So it's really monitoring, firsthand where this tractor is, what's happening inside the tractor, and all the rest.
Certainly. So that IoT future is what is enabled. If we look at the large ag side of our equipment fleet, what we've continued to develop with our connecting machines, and in South Africa we've had JD Link, which is our solution for the larger machines, since about the 2015 timeframe. And as of today, we've continued to evolve that capability such that both agronomic and machine health data is coming off of those machines, allowing the customer or farmers to stay on top of what's happening, not only with their equipment, but the quality of execution of a job that's happening out in that field. Past that, we're also developing additional machine learning and tools that allow for our dealers to better support farmers through proactive dealer support. The last thing that a farmer wants to see is a natural breakdown that might take several hours or days out of their planting, harvest, spraying season. And if we look at the small contractor segment, like we talked about earlier, our connecting tractors delivers value to those contractors by allowing them to keep track of where all those machines are, and also provide additional tools such as we mentioned earlier, alerts around fuel theft, and even if the tractor is being run too hot, right? So does that new operator know to actually shift up when he's supposed to, or is he out there burning fuel, right? These are all critical questions that contractors care about, and we're through IoT able to bring this data to help them get the most efficient operation out of their equipment and maximize utilization.
That's fascinating. Nate, so I mean, you've got 3 main divisions in John Deere. I mean, do you take learnings from, for example, chopping down of trees, building of roads? I mean, is there that cross-pollination in the business?
Yeah, there's some cross-pollination. Each of the businesses has some of their own unique specialized solutions that they're great at, frankly. And so, but we have this concept, called integrated enterprise. And so we try to leverage as much as we possibly can with various core technologies across the different groups. And I suspect that may even pick up more with machine learning and artificial intelligence and sensors, and different processing capabilities in our equipment as we go forward.
Early on, you were very excited. We said the future of ag is bright, right? And it's explain.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the future of ag, and I know there's a lot of challenges right now, but one of the things that I was really excited about is that the Agritechnica farm show in Germany in November. John Deere had a really well done overall booth, and we had a future technology zone in there, is what we called it, the FTZ, where we showed a lot of the products that we're showing at this show this week. Were at the FTZ at Agritechnica, and the look on customers' faces as they came into this future technology zone and just saw that John Deere is not letting down whatsoever in terms of innovating for the future, leveraging technologies to make our customers' jobs better, easier, smarter. The conversations I had, it's hard to remember a conversation I had that was less than 10 minutes because customers were so excited on how optimistic John Deere was. And, it just reminded me of that's fantastic. And Tavonga and I are fortunate to work in a unit where we get to see and get to experience and work with a lot of the great technologies that we need to put to work very well for customers. But the future is bright, and we're just getting started. And it's our job to be good stewards of that and make sure that the solutions are very appropriate and do a great job for our customers. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the future of ag is extremely bright.
Well, I can see it. It's your whole. You beamed earlier, and it's very authentic. So it is contagious. So and the future is green, right? So guys, thank you. I mean, I'm conscious of the time, and again, thanks again for making time to have a chat. I'm going to ask her maybe it's an easy question. I'm just wondering again. The dealer network, obviously, it's at the heart. I hear it with Stefan and Jacques. You guys are emphasizing it. And when you talk about a customer, obviously you've got the farmer and you've got the dealer network. Is it? And again, when people get excited, it's going to be the farmer. It's going to be that dealer. Is it two different sets of languages when you're talking to these guys? I mean, what are the challenges working with that important middleman?
So I certainly would not consider our dealers necessarily middleman. There's the strong appreciation that for the majority of our customers out there, John Deere is their local dealer. And for farmers out there, it's really about those long-term relationships, right? So these are people that they trust, people that are really holding key decisions that will impact the future and sustainability of that customer's farm. And from my perspective, and Nate can certainly share his, I consider our dealers customers also, right? Because at the end of the day, our obligation and our duty is to serve them as they are serving customers. So that's certainly my take on it.
So if I may ask a second question to my question, what are the challenges of keeping? Is it a different animal? Do you have to keep the dealer happy in a different way to the farmer, or if the farmer is happy, the dealer is happy? Or is it not that simplistic?
So fundamentally, great companies win by creating customer loyalty through a great channel, no matter what. That's why Steve Jobs created the first Apple Store right after he came out with the iPod, because he wanted to control the customer experience. So we really get that our dealers deliver customer loyalty. And one of the key ways they do that is, yesterday, today, tomorrow, parts and service backup. We can talk about all these high-tech machines and everything coming out, but if we don't have parts, and the parts may get a little bit more sophisticated with sensors and stuff, but I'm serious. That is our, the dealers make it happen for us in the market. So, yeah, we have the way that we develop our solutions and systems for dealers is different from customers, because a lot of the things we think about from our dealers is how do we not load them up with a bunch of administrative work, trying to manage all the technology and the customer accounts, et cetera. How do we make it easy for them to explain to customers why how this technology can help them on their farm? That's our job with our dealers, is to really empower them and enable them with easy-to-use tools and things. We don't always do that perfectly, and but we work really hard to try to make their lives easier, and so they can do their primary job, which is creating customer loyalty. And so that is different than the way that we work with customers. We've talked at length about how we focus on customers, but the dealer part is absolutely essential, and we try to reach our customers through our dealers and make their job as easy as we can.
I think it's Tavonga, what I took away from your point, it's seamless, right?
Yep. No, it's certainly seamless, and kind of building on Nate's comments. It's really appreciating that funnel of John Deere continuing to develop and try and address these solutions, and that two-way conversation that's always happening between Deere and the actual dealer. Many times prior to products even getting to customers, we are actually getting input and feedback from dealer to better understand what those customer needs are. And then as those customers are interacting and using that product for the first time, their two-way conversation is with their dealer, right? So that's certainly a key component of what delivers ongoing value for John Deere customers.
Last question, easy question. It's been a few years since you've both been back to South Africa. What do you look forward to most other than looking at the John Deere stand at the show? Food and drink wise, what have you missed?
Food and drink wise. So one, I'll adjust your question a little bit, because certainly what I've missed the most is just the social aspect of what it means to be South African and all the socializing that happens around food and drink. I've not been to a braai in a long time. So wasn't able to make it happen this trip, but as far as dishes that I certainly enjoyed upon my return, it was oxtail and some lamb.
Oh my goodness, good one. Nate?
So I don't have as much experience as Tavonga, but I'll say South African wine and the tail, oxtail, lamb tail. I hadn't eaten much like oxtail before, but it's absolutely fantastic. But I really enjoy coming here. The people that we get to work with the branch here in South Africa, as well as the dealers. The dealers have incredible dealers here that have multifaceted businesses that are just really well run. So I kind of consider a little bit similar to some of my comments about Australia earlier. There's some great agriculture business going on here, and so I learn something every time I come to South Africa.
That's I think it's music to all South Africans. Yes, guys, thanks so much for your time. It's great to have you, and enjoy the rest of your stay, and hope it's a very successful exhibition.
Very good, Jacques. Thank you very much for the time, and enjoy the conversation.
Thanks a lot.
Baie dankie dat jy geluister het. Onthou, jy kan die John Deere podcast reeks kry op Apple Podcasts of Google Podcasts, Spotify of SoundCloud. As jy gehou het van hierdie episode en die reeks, asseblief deel dit met jou vriende en familie, en ons sien uit om altyd van jou te hoor. So enige terugvoer, ons op reg waardeer. Laat die wiele rol.